Paul Markovitz, thank you so much for joining me today on the Valder Beebe Show live in Dallas, Texas. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I wanted to talk with you because your representative pitched that you would talk about people over profits. I don't hear anybody talking about that, but I wanted to hear what you had to say.
No, I'd love to talk about it.
All right. What do you mean by people over profits?
Well, right now in our current system, one of the reasons it's so expensive and frustrating, I think, for Americans is that the system rewards all of the participants for doing more instead of doing better. And I think a great example of that is colonoscopies for colon cancer screening. You know, most Western European countries, the vast majority of people do a very simple at-home test that they can submit that costs less than $100 for their colon cancer screening. But in the United States, even if you're not high risk, almost, the vast majority of people do a colonoscopy, which requires them to take time off work, get an anesthetic. It's highly invasive. And the only reason we do that, as opposed to other countries, is because it generates thousands of dollars of revenue for the clinics and the hospitals that are doing the colonoscopy. So this would be an example of putting profits, because a colonoscopy is more profitable, over patients, where it's way more in the interest of the patient to do the at-home test than the in-clinic or in-hospital test.
So your thought is to reverse this, put people over profits?
That's right. We need to start paying all the participants to make people better, make them healthier, help support their health, as opposed to just doing more. Right now we pay for more so we get more, and everyone's pursuing their profits. We want them to pursue profits, but to do that, when they do, they make the healthcare system better, they make patients better, and they serve them more personally.
I know the answer to this, but I have to ask this for my audience. Even people who have insurance say they're paying more whenever they get services. Why does healthcare still feel so expensive for everyday families? I'm going to say in America.
Yeah, well, the reason it feels more expensive is because it is. I mean, the average family policy costs $27,000 a year, every year. And the average American can't afford that without a subsidy or some financial support from their employer or from the government. And so, the feeling is a very real one. And it keeps increasing at a much higher rate than all the other goods and services that we tend to consume. So, the reason it feels so expensive is because it is.
I'm going to take this one from Facebook. My audience is on multiple social media and other platforms. And the poster said they recently had a medication prescribed to them by their primary doctor, who they have a very good relationship with. And the medication was $1,998.03. Why do prescription drug prices remain so high? That's my question.
Yeah, well, one of the biggest reasons is that there's a number of intermediaries between the company that manufactures the drug and the patient who takes the drug, and they all get paid more when we sell and administer and prescribe a higher volume of more expensive drugs. And so even when there's lower cost drugs available, they will try to fulfill your prescription for the higher cost amount because, again, it's more profitable. That's putting profit over patients instead of the reverse. And that's one of the things we're advocating for at Worthy, is to change that system so that these intermediaries aren't rewarded and trying to basically push really expensive drugs on people when there's much lower cost alternatives available.
Today, my guest is Paul Markovitz, and he's President and Chief Executive Officer of Ascendium. Paul, we hear a lot about health care reform. What does that mean? Because we don't see the changes as the consumer.
Right. Well, there's a number of reforms we're pursuing, but one that's at the top of my list is to ensure that every American has access to a comprehensive real-time digital health record. If you think about it, you can manage almost every aspect of your life right now with your phone or your tablet or your favorite device, except in healthcare, where we still use fax machines and clipboards. And so the ability to have all your information available at your fingertips and have that same information available to your treating clinician can make it way more convenient, take a lot of administrative costs out of the system, and then allow you to be treated personally because we know everything there is to know about you at that moment of great need.
Okay. I'm going to take this one from, where's it come from? Instagram. The poster said that's a great idea, having information available. She said, but on an annual basis, she may get 2 to 4 warnings that her data has been stolen.
Right.
How do you protect this?
Well, I do think, look, we just have to do a way better job at that just generally. And I would say it's not even just unique to healthcare. This is happening across the board. And to me, I think if we can create as a part of this the type of system where we're using the best methods to avoid breaches and cybersecurity and the hacking that goes on, that just has to happen. I mean, we need to be treating this information as if it's precious across the entire industry. And there's been way too many breaches in the healthcare sector and beyond.
There you go, poster. Okay, Paul, as I wrap up, you talked about trust in the healthcare system, and we do want to have trust in the healthcare system. But what realistically could we see, and how can we make that change?
Well, I think trust, it gets built when you have full information and you know the people you're working with have your back. And you get full information when you get this digital health record, and when you pay the people who are treating you to make you better and happier, then you know that they're going to have your interests in mind when they're treating you. And I think that can both build trust and help reduce the pressure on Americans' wallets.
Paul, you've been such a great guest with such great information. Where do we go online and get more?
Thisisworthy.com is our website. You can find everything you need to know about our cause there.
I'm so glad there's someone out here advocating for the regular American that can give us a sense of at least there's help. And I really appreciate you stopping by the Valder Beebe Show. It's been my pleasure.
Thank you, Valder. It's been my pleasure.
Hi, I'm Valder Beebe, host of the Valder Beebe Show. We have over 1,000 videos on ValderBeebeShow.com and YouTube.com/Valder Beebe Show. We upload new videos daily. Our site is a modern baby boomer platform with news and information important to boomers. Subscribe to YouTube.com/Valder Beebe Show and stay connected as I interview the world's most fascinating people.